Hi, my name is Kimberly Morales, and I would like to give a deeper self-critique of my session with my client. I would like to start with an introduction. Um, in the self critique, I will reflect on my performance during the role play session, focusing on my strength areas for improvement and my plan for continued growth as a developing social worker. My goal is to evaluate how effectively I demonstrated the three stages of the session: evaluating goals, evaluating process, and termination, while maintaining professionalism, empathy, and a client-centered approach. This reflection allows me to assess not only observable skills I used, also but also the underlying attitudes, values, and decision-making processes that shaped my interactions. But critically examining my performance, I can better understand how my strengths support effective practice and how my areas for improvement can guide my ongoing development. First, I would like to start focusing on my strength. I would like to take to explain a few areas. First, or a few skills. First, I got the strong use of active listening. One of my primary strengths in this session was my consistent use of active listening. I demonstrated this through paraphrasing, reflecting feelings, and summarizing the client's statements. These skills helped the client feel heard, validated, and safe enough to engage in honest reflection. My non-verbal communication, steady eye contact, appropriate nodding, and open posture reinforce my verbal encourages such as I hear you and that makes sense. Together, these behaviors contributed to a warm, supportive environment that encouraged the client to explore her thoughts and emotions more deeply. Number two, I would like to talk about effective use of open-ended questions. I use open-ended questions throughout the session to promote deeper reflection and support client self-determination. Questions such as what accomplishment are you most proud of? Allow the client to identify her own strength and progress without feeling guided toward a specific answer. This approach helped maintain a collectively tone, demonstrated respect for the client's autonomy. It also encouraged the client to take an active role in evaluating her own growth, which is essentially for empowerment and long-term change. Third will be clear evaluation and goals and progress. I demonstrated a strong understanding of the goal evaluation process by revisiting the client's original concerns and helping her articulate how her goals had evolved over time. I effectively connected her progress to the stages of change model, identifying her movement from contemplation to maintenance. This integration of theory into practice helped the client understand her progress in a structured way and reinforce her sense of accomplishment. It also demonstrated my ability to use theoretical frameworks to guide assessment and intervention. Fourth will be empathy and strength-based approach. Throughout this session, I highlighted the client's resilience, determination, and growth. Using a strength-based lens helped empower the client and reinforced her confidence in continuing progress after service end or services end. I validated her emotions, especially during the termination stage, which helped normalize her concerns and support a healthy transition. My empathetic responses helped the client feel understood and respected, which strengthens the therapeutic relationship and made the termination process feel more collaborative. Fifth will be professional and ethical boundaries. During the termination stage, I maintain appropriate boundaries by avoiding dependency creating statements. Instead, instead of offering ongoing personal support, I guided the client toward identifying her own support systems and resources. These demonstrated ethical practice, respect for the client's autonomy, and an understanding of the importance of preparing clients for independence. I also avoided self-disclosure that could shift focus away from the client, which helped maintain professionalism and clarity in the helping relationship. Now I would like to talk about my weaknesses. First, I would like to talk about pacing and transitions. One area needing improvement was my pacing. At times, I transitioned too quickly between topics, especially during the progress evaluation stage. This might have limited the client's opportunity to reflect more deeply or express additional emotions. Slowing down will help create more space for meaningful dialogue and allow the client to guide the flow of the conversation more naturally. Second will be limited exploration of emotional content. Although I reflected feelings, I could have explored clients' emotions more truly. When the clients expressed nervousness about termination, I could have asked follow-up questions to better understand the roots of that anxiety. This will have strengthened the emotional depth of the session and help the client process her feelings more fully. Deeper emotional exploration will also help the client identify coping strategies for managing those feelings after services end. Third, it will be occasional overstructuring. Because I was focused on meeting rubric requirements, I sometimes relied too heavily on structured questions. While structure is important, allowing more natural conversation flow will create a more authentic therapeutic experience and help the client feel less like she was being guided through a checklist. A more flexible approach will allow me to respond more intuitively to the client's needs in the moment. Fourth, it will be need for more intentional silence. I tended to fill silence quickly instead of allowing the client space to process her thoughts. Intentional silence is a powerful therapeutic tool, and using it more effectively will encourage deeper reflection, and give the client more control over the pace of the conversation. Allowing silence can also communicate patience, respect, and confidence in the client's ability to think through her experiences. Now, I would like to talk about the plan for my future improvements. First, it will be improve pacing and allow more reflection time. I plan to slow down transitions and allow the client more time to think before moving to the next question. Practicing intentional silence will help me strengthen this skill and create more space for client-led insight. I also plan to monitor my internal sense of urgency and remind myself that meaningful reflection often requires time. Second, it will be deepen emotional exploration. In future session, I will ask more follow-up questions that explore the client's emotional experience, such as tell me more about what makes you feel nervous, or what emotions come up when you think about ending services. This will help me better understand the client's internal world and support emotional processing. It will also help me build stronger therapeutic alliances by demonstrating curiosity and care about the client's feelings. Third, it will be the balance structure with flexibility. I will continue using structured questions, but remain open to following the client's lead when appropriate. This will help create more natural therapeutic rhythm and support a more authentic helping relationship. I also plan to practice shifting between structured and spontaneous responses to strengthen this balance. Number 4 will be strength reflecting listening skills. I plan to practice more advanced reflecting techniques, such as double-sided reflections and deeper paraphrasing, to help clients explore ambivalence and gain insight. These skills will help me respond more effectively to complex emotional content and support clients in developing greater self-awareness. And number 5 will be continue building confidence in termination skills. Termination can be emotionally complex for both client and practitioner. I will continue practicing how to provide closure that is supportive, empowering, and ethically grounded. This includes reviewing progress, validating emotions, and reinforcing the client's ability to grow independently. Building confidence in this area will help me facilitate endings that feel meaningful rather than abrupt. And to conclude my self-critique, I will say that I believe the role play demonstrate strong foundational skills in evaluating goals, assessing progress, and facilitating a healthy termination process. I showed empathy, professionalism, and a clear understanding of the therapeutic stages. At the same time, I recognize areas where I can continue to grow, particularly in pacing, emotional exploration, and reflecting depth. This self-critique reflects my commitment to ongoing development as a social worker and my dedication to providing clients with compassionate, ethical, and effective support. As I continue to build my skills, I aim to integrate clarity, self-awareness, and intentional practice to strengthen ability to serve clients with competence and care. Thank you.